piecemeal distribution, that is distribution in installments. Whenever we talk about the dissolution of the firm, what we have learned till now, in that case the assets generally takes a lot of time for the purpose of sale of the assets. It is not possible that all the assets are sold on a particular one day and on the next day we are going to basically pay off all the liabilities, taking the payments to the partner's capital account. However, it takes a considerable period of time. In that case, there are actually two options available. First is that we actually pay off the liabilities and to the partner's capital in the sequence in what we are getting the payments, or the second can be we will obviously pay the amounts obviously once all the activity is completed. Now till now what we have done in the normal dissolution is that a one day kind of activity, in which case what we have done, all the assets are sold on a particular day, all the liabilities are unpaid, then the balance is distributed to the partners. Now we are going to talk about when the distribution is in pieces, that is in installments. That is, we are selling off the assets, they are sold in pieces, and as and when the money is coming in, we are making a payment to the outsider. Now in that case, the sequence of the payments obviously makes a lot of importance. So here is what we are going to discuss about the sequence of payments when your actually assets are sold off in actually installments. So in that case, the sequence of distribution is very important. First of all, we say provide for the dissolution or realization expenses on an estimated basis. Now if let's say in the first installment you get 1 lakh rupees along with the available cash balance, and you actually think that this activity will take a considerable period of time, let's say 3 months. Now you have to pay for the expenses as and when it is arises. So you actually estimate for the total expenses during this 3 months course. Now you estimate, let's say 20,000 will be the expenses. So what you are going to do, out of 1 lakh you are actually blocking 20,000. You are actually going to put that money aside and you will be distributing only 80,000. So first thing is always that whatever the estimated expenses you are estimating, provide for that, means reduce your available amount to the extent of the estimated expense and distribute the remaining amount, and your actual amount of expenses will be considered in the last installment. Obviously you provided for 20,000, it is not possible that 20,000 will be the exact amount of expenses after the end of your distribution. It may be possible it is less than 20 or more than 20. In that case, the adjustment will be done in the last installment. If your expenses, actual expenses are more than the estimated, then that extra would be deducted in the last installment. However, if there is a saving, that will also be considered for the distribution. So there is an additional amount available for distribution in the last installment, but that discussion will be done at the end of the installment, that is in the last installment. But in the first one, we actually provide for the total expenses, we reduce the amount to the particular amount, and then we distribute the balance. So this is first thing, that we provide for the expenses. The second one is, now is the important outsider liability. So as per the sequence, we say after the expenses, first of all we will pay the outsider liabilities, then partner loan, and then partner capital. Now again a problem comes when we talk about the outsider liabilities. Now in case of outsider liabilities, if there is more than one outsider liability, so if there is a more than one outsider liability and you have a less amount available than the total of the outsider liability, so what to be done? Now in that case we say distribute in the outstanding amount ratio until they are fully paid. What does that mean? Let us understand with the example. Let's say there is a creditors appearing in your balance sheet, there is a outstanding expenses amount, outstanding amount is 3 lakh and 2 lakh, and the amount available, if I say the amount available is, let's say 7 lakh rupees. If the amount available is 7 lakh rupees, you got 7 lakh by the sale of a particular asset, what you will do? You will pay 3 lakh and 2 lakh to both creditors as well as outstanding expenses. So you will pay 3 lakh and 2 lakh, and you will be remaining with 2 lakh more amount, because after paying 5 lakh you will be remaining 2 lakh, which will be used for further payment of liabilities. But what if your total amount available is less? So let's say you have only 4 lakh rupees and you have outstanding liabilities of 3 lakh outsider liability of creditors and 2 lakh of outstanding expenses. Now it is not obviously possible that you are calling your creditors for the purpose of making payment and to the outstanding expenses to whom you owe money, that tomorrow morning at 10 AM we are going to pay off the amount whosoever comes first, we will pay his amount first, and then the other person will be paid later on as and when we get the amount realized. It's not possible. Obviously, they will be paid proportionate to their outstanding amount. So that means their ratio is actually 3:2 student. So the total amount outstanding is 3 lakh and 2 lakh, which is actually coming out of ratio 3:2. Now till the time they are not fully paid, we will distribute this amount in 3:2 ratio, because both of them have each and every equal right in the ratio of their outstanding amount they will be paid off. So this 4 lakh will be distributed in the ratio of 3:2. So when I distribute this 4 lakh in 3:2, so it comes out to 240 to creditors and 160 for expenses. Okay. Now after this, the remaining will be 1 lakh. Now again, if the amount available is less than 1 lakh, it will be distributed in 3:2. If it is more than 1 lakh, then remaining 60,000 and 40,000 will be paid to creditors and outstanding expenses respectively, and then we will move further on. So what I am saying, if there is more than one outsider liability and your available amount is less than the total amount owing, in that case we will distribute the amount in the outstanding amount ratio until they are fully paid. So that is the payment of outsider liabilities. Then after the outsider liabilities are paid, then we actually pay for the partner loan. So that is, let's say there are three partners A, B, C, and there is a A's loan as well. So before we come to the capitals, we will pay the partner loan, but he will be paid only after the outsider liabilities are paid off. And again, if there is more than one partner loan, then they will be paid in their outstanding amount ratio. And after the payment of partner loan, we will come to partner's capital. And the partner's capital outstanding amount is actually your culmination of all these values, which is your available capital balances, or let's say current account balances. If there is any reserve and surplus, that will be added. There are positive reserves. If there is any loss, that will be deducted. And if there is a loan to partner, which is advance to partner, means the amount is recoverable from the partner, it will be reduced. So these values are the total payable to the partner. And for the payment to the partners, from now to which partner the money should be paid, for that there are two methods, student. One is highest relative capital method, one is maximum loss method. So there are two methods for distribution of payment among the partners. One is highest relative capital method, another one is maximum loss method. So before I make you understand about the method, the sequence of distribution in case of piecemeal distribution is, first of all, we provide for the estimated dissolution expenses, and their actual will be discussed in the last installment. After providing for the estimated dissolution expenses, we pay for the outsider liabilities, and if there is more than one outsider liability, in that case they will be paid in their outstanding amount ratio until they are fully paid. Then after payment of outsider liabilities, we pay for the partner loan, and then after payment of partner loan, we pay the partner's capital, and their total balance outstanding will be their capital and current account balances, the reserves and surplus. If there is loss, will be deducted. If there is any loan to partner, that will be deducted, and that is their outstanding amount. And for the distribution among the partners, we follow two methods. One is highest relative capital method, another one is maximum loss method. Now let us understand what highest relative capital method says so. So let's say there are two partners and their balance, which is after consideration of capital, current, reserves and surplus, losses, anything, all the things, is you are coming out of, it's let's say 6 lakh rupees and 4,80,000. Let's say these are their balances, and their profit sharing ratio is 1:1. So that will always be given, and if not given, we consider as equal ratio. So to make you understand, I am first stating a very easy example, 1:1. So their outstanding amount is 1:1. Basically outstanding amount is 6 lakh and 480, and the ratio is 1:1. So now we are going to discuss the point that we have obviously a less amount of available money, and we have to pay off the partner, and we are going to understand the highest relative capital method. Now highest relative capital method says that a particular partner who has actually put relatively more capital as compared to his profit sharing ratio, he will be paid first. What that actually means? So their in the PSR in this case is 1:1, means they are supposed to put in the business equal amount of capital. So the ideal equal amount of capital in the lowest amount, if I say that is 4,80,000 and 480, that is 480 and 480. In that case 480 is equal, that is PSR in PSR form. However, Mr. A had put excess of 120 because their ideal amount of capital is 480 and Mr. A has put excess amount of 120. So this method is saying first pay Mr. A 1,20,000. Till the time Mr. A doesn't get 1,20,000, we will not pay to Mr. B. So when 1,20,000 is paid to A, after that their closing balances, remaining balances will be 480 and 480, and that money will be distributed in their PSR. So highest likely capital method is saying any partner who has put relatively more capital, higher amount of capital, that partner will be paid first. That partner will be paid first. Now this was the easy example. In terms of that, their PSR was equal. Their PSR was equal. Now what if I change the ratio? Let's say the ratio is 3:2. So the ratio is 3:2 and we have to tell that to which partner the money should be paid first, which partner has put relatively excess capital according to the PSR. Now in 1:1 it actually becomes very simple. However, if the ratio is obviously not 1:1, in that case what we do, we first find out capital per PSR. Means we are going to divide balance with the PSR. That means that is 2 lakh and that is 2,40,000. 6 lakh divided by 3, 480 divided by 2. Now we consider, student, the lowest amount of the balance from these two and we find out proportionate capital. We will be doing lot of questions and you will be able to understand it thoroughly. Just in this example I am trying to explain you the basic concept of highest likely capital method. So the proportionate capital, taking A as base. So what can be their capital in terms of PSR? That is 2 lakh into 3, which is 6 lakh, and 2 lakh into 2, that is 4 lakh. So I have written proportionate capital taking A as base. Just understand with me. Now what I am saying, that ideal capital in PSR of 3:2 is 6 lakh and 4 lakh actually. This is in PSR and the excess capital will now be of Mr. B to the extent of 80,000. If I have taken, let's say, B as a base, in that case A's capital will be 240 into 3, 720. We are going to pay off the money. We are not asking the partner that you have to bring the money. So what I am saying, out of 6 lakh and 480, which was the outstanding amount due, and if I have to take it in PSR, the maximum amount of capital in the PSR without any partner being negative, that is 6 lakh and 4 lakh. So we have divided with the PSR. We have taken the lowest as the base, because if you will take highest as the base, in that case the other partner will be supposed to bring the money. We have actually to pay the money. So in that case we are considering the lowest as the base, and according to the lowest one we have considered their ideal amount of capital. So their maximum amount of capital in the PSR is 6 lakh and 4 lakh, considering that no partner will have any negative balance. Their outstanding amounts were 6 lakh and 480, students. So what I am saying, that first pay of 80,000 to Mr. B, because he has relatively put excess amount of capital as compared to the capital in terms of PSR. So first 80,000 will be paid to B, then any balance available after that will be distributed in 3:2, because their capitals after paying 80,000 to B will be in 6 lakh and 4 lakh, which is there appearing in PSR. So the partner who has relatively put excess amount of capital, he is being paid first. So for that we divided by PSR, we take the lowest as the base, we multiply with their PSR to get the ideal amount of capital, and the remaining is the basically your excess. So this is what highest likely capital method says. So now again going back to your piecemeal distribution concept. So what we have understood till now, that whenever the distribution is in installments, for that first of all is they provide for the estimated expenses, then your outsider liability is more than 1, then distribute in the outstanding amount ratio. Then partner loan, then partner capital. For partner capital there are two methods we have discussed, abhi just only one, that is highest salary capital method. Maximum loss method will be explained later on. So we have discussed this now, and now we are going to do the questions regarding the piecemeal contribution and with the application of highest relative capital method. So let us start with the questions relating to piecemeal distribution concept, student. Thank you.